and today, March the 4th, 2021, I am bringing you a video for the fights this weekend at UFC 259 in Las Vegas. We have the light heavyweight champion Jan Blachowicz fighting Israel Adesanya for the belt, and this is going to be a fight that is going to be an absolute war. I have Jan Blachowicz winning personally, just to say right off the bat. I think that Israel Adesanya is stepping up a weight class and fighting the champion is something he's underestimating as something he intends to accomplish. And I believe that Israel Adesanya is going to go to sleep on Saturday evening. Now, why do I say that? Because the level, well, not the level, but the strength and power at which the light heavyweights punch is entirely different from that of which is the lightweight. So Jan Blachowicz, connecting Israel Adesanya is gonna get Israel to go to sleep because Jan hits really hard. He's a really technical fighter, and Israel is stepping up a weight class that is naturally not his. And the fact that he's coming out and claiming and saying that, hey, you know what? Since I fight better at the weight that I know about, which is the weight that he probably usually carries himself around, which is the weight he fights at lightweight. And him coming out and saying that he's not gonna try to put on extra weight to fight Jan is a little bit already weird to me. I believe that he should use all the weight that he can put on because the light heavyweight division is entirely different. And as we know that the higher the weight class is, the easier it is to get knocked out whenever you get touched. So um I want to focus a little more about on the main event right now because a lot of people have Israel Adesanya winning this fight, and Israel Adesanya is the favorite in winning this fight. But the question is, will he actually be able to win? And let me say something. I think he can. And I usually always talk about betting odds and betting, and who's gonna win at the end of the day, and how not to lose the money because that's what everybody's here for, right? Money, because even UFC, the fighters, and many people that place bets, everyone is in it to make some money. So now we have to ask ourselves and consider as to which fighter would be best to put place money on. And whenever we see as to who would win this fight, I personally have Jan winning. And let me just say something: every single fight that Israel Adesanya has been, especially since the Kelvin Gastelum fight, in which I had him winning, I always rooted for Adesanya to win because I knew that he could have, and I knew that he was a good bet to place. But in this fight, this is the first fight that I would say that I'm actually choosing the opponent of Israel Adesanya, which is Jan Blachowicz. And the reason why I believe Jan Blachowicz is going to win this fight um, is because he's technical, but he's technical in a different way. This guy has power. This guy's going to stand up, and when he says he has some good ground game, I don't doubt that. Jan Blachowicz actually has a good amount of wins via submission, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm gonna go ahead and confirm that right now. And yes, this dude has 9 wins by submission. So Jan Blachowicz definitely has that ground game. So just in case this fight gets to the ground, in which it likely can, Jan Blachowicz is going to get that victory because this guy definitely has a ground game. But does Israel Adesanya have a ground game? I mean, I really don't know just because we haven't really seen it. But let's go ahead and look over here. And honestly, I'm looking at it right now. This guy has 15 knockouts and 5 wins by decision, yet no losses by submission and no wins by no losses by uh submission and no wins by submission either. So um what would happen? I'm just curious. What would happen if Jan Blachowicz decides to grapple with Israel Adesanya and close that distance and grab a hold of him and put him to the ground. I wonder how Israel Adesanya is going to react, because looking at Israel's track record right now, he's got 15 wins by knockout and 5 wins by decision. He hasn't lost by submission, and he hasn't won by decision. So I mean, when I think about this fight going to the ground, I easily have Jan Blachowicz winning the fight, because Israel hasn't really been on the ground throughout a majority of his fights. So I feel like Giant Blachowicz is someone that has a chin. I feel like this guy is super durable. For some reason, I don't feel like this fight is gonna go to decision, but I feel like if it does, I feel like actually I feel like if it goes to decision, I feel like Israel Adesanya might have a good chance to win. But I feel like if it doesn't go to decision, which is the more likely probability in my opinion, then in that case, we got Giant Blachowicz winning in my opinion. But yeah, I mean Israel Adesanya stepping up a weight class, and him saying that he doesn't want to put on too much weight because he might be slower and that he's faster at the weight that he carries himself at lightweight. Man, that's just to me like not taking this thing seriously. So is Israel Adesanya gonna be able to open up Saturday evening? That's another thing. There's a pillow under his head just because he's 20-0 and is in a sense essentially undefeated. So I mean, I feel like Jan Blachowicz is gonna surprise him, and I feel like Israel isn't taking this fight for some reason. I just have this feeling that he's not taking this fight as seriously as he should, because I feel like he's not hungry right now, and I feel like Jan is also really hungry. So I mean, Israel Adesanya's been putting on fights and wars, and I know Israel was hungry for the Paulo Costa fight just because it was personal. But this one, it looks like the two fighters, Jan and Israel, respect each other. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I feel like Jan is hungry. I feel like he's got the better technical punching, especially when it comes to boxing. I know Israel Adesanya likes to, uh, strike and throw a lot of jabs and keep his distance and throw a lot of kicks and chop up that leg. But I feel like Jan Blachowicz is gonna be a little too strong for Israel Adesanya, and the fact that the betting odds, show that Jan Blachowicz is the underdog, that makes me even more wanting to place a bet on this fight, especially considering I have Jan winning. So we'll see what happens. This is gonna be a war. A lot of people are saying that this is gonna be the fight. I don't know if we should say the fight. The best fight of the year, but it's definitely gonna be a card of the year, because this thing is stacked, man. We got Aljamain Sterling fighting the Russian guy Petryan. So that's gonna be another one. I'm not sure if you guys caught that pre-fight press conference, but yeah, Petryan and Aljamain were talking to each other because it looked like they had some beef there, and anytime there's beef, it's always fun to watch. So Jan and Israel, on the other hand, were actually very respectable to one another, which I obviously and always admire. So that's really cool, between the two. But yeah, I actually got some. I actually feel like Jan wasn't really asked too many questions, considering he's the champ, and then we had all these other questions about um Khamzat Chimaev and all these other faces when it's not even their turn on Saturday night. So obviously that's a big story, but yeah, we'll see. I don't think Khamzat is gonna retire, because that announcement of him retiring was definitely emotional. So I can absolutely agree with Dana White on that one. So um, yeah, again, these two fights, guys. Look, Jan Blachowicz has half of his fights won by submission, so he's got 9 wins by submission. So I just wonder. I mean, he can probably just bear hug Israel Adesanya the entire fight and just put him against the cage and take him down, because Israel's saying he's not gonna be putting on more weight than he naturally is, which I find really weird. So hey, Jan could take advantage of that and put him to the ground if he has to. So um, I think there's just too many factors that are pointing to Jan winning, but a lot of the times the pointers can be showing something in a different direction. But even when all the factors point to a certain direction, sometimes it's just the opposite that happens. So I would definitely not be surprised if Israel Adesanya goes ahead and wins this fight, whether by knockout or by decision. Because this guy's gonna come, he's gonna stand right in front of you, and he's gonna jab and he's gonna chop up that leg. So um, we'll have to see, what happens Saturday night. But I know that it's gonna happen on Saturday night, and it's gonna be a very fun one. So they're obviously showing up, right? But yeah, I feel like Jan, the only thing with Jan is that he's 38, but then let's see how old Adesanya is. I don't think he's too old. He's 31. So yeah, Adesanya is seemingly in his prime, while Jan is getting closer to the age of retirement, which I would say is probably, 38 plus, 40 plus, so probably somewhere around there. But um yeah, this is gonna be a war, man. Jan Blachowicz is one, heck of a fighter too. I mean, this dude can come stand in front of you and take your head off your shoulders. So yeah, the main event is gonna be a war. It will be one of the fights where I'm gonna be standing up and not sitting. So I'm very excited for it, and I cannot wait. Especially considering that I look forward to making some money. So that always excites me. But going to the co-main event, it's gonna be the women fighting. It's gonna be the women's featherweight division between Megan Anderson and Amanda Nunes, and this is also a fight that can be very interesting. But I personally have Amanda Nunes winning this fight. I feel like Amanda's actually a bad matchup for Megan Anderson, so we'll see how this one turns out. But just to quickly go ahead and look at the betting odds for this fight, because I know that um, Megan Anderson is actually a huge underdog. So I think um, what's your face? I think Nunez is like a what minus 300 or something. Let me go ahead and find out. Oh no, never mind. I'm stupid. No, Amanda Nunez is a minus 1,000. So let me say that again. Amanda Nunez is a minus 1,000, while Megan Anderson is a plus 600. So wow. I mean that's absolutely a big difference there. So we got Israel Adesanya at minus 235 and Janet Blachowicz at plus 185. So those are the betting odds for that fight, which I really like. So but we'll see what happens. But yeah, these two, yeah, I got Amanda Nunes winning that fight. If Amanda's gonna come out the way she does every single time, yeah, I got Amanda winning that one. So and then the third fight, which is gonna be in the bantamweight division, which is also gonna be a title bout, and that's gonna be between Petrian and Aljamain Sterling fighting. So this is gonna be a war that you guys are not gonna want to miss. And if you guys do go ahead and watch this fight, I would also urge you guys to stand up, because while it is the bantamweight division, I tell you, man, these guys can knock each other out. Petrian is gonna be someone that is gonna be able to hurt you, and this is someone that is gonna be able to put Aljamain Sterling on his knees and possibly finish the fight via TKO or knockout. So yeah, the third fight is gonna be very interesting. And I got Petrian winning this fight because I know Aljamain Sterling is a beast, but I don't feel like Aljo has really fought anyone that is on the level of Petrian. So we'll see what happens in that fight. But man, Aljamain Sterling, really deserved this title fight for a while, because every single time this guy beat his opponents, it was like, okay, isn't he next? Isn't he next? It's almost as though they offsetted the guy every single time. But his win against Corey Sandhagen is definitely his biggest one. But being able to beat Pedro Munoz, Jimmy Rivera, Cody Stamen, their names, they're not that big name. They're not that big of names, but Corey Sandhagen is definitely the one that put him on the map. So yeah, this entire fight card is gonna be interesting, guys. Do not miss it. And that again, The main event is gonna start. The main event, not the main event. The main card is gonna start at 7 p.m. Whereas we have the prelim starting at 5 p.m. and the early prelim starting at ESPN Plus. So tune in, guys. Literally every single fight on this card is gonna be interesting. We got light heavyweights, lightweights, welterweights fighting, flyweights fighting. There's just so many. Um, there's just so many fights on this card. That's gonna be really exciting. I mean, we got Islam Makhachev fighting Drew Dober. We got Thiago Santos fighting. That's always interesting. And then Dominic Cruz, right, which is also really interesting. Joseph Benavidez, he's usually fun to watch. And then Tim Elliott for the early prelim headline against Jordan Espinoza. So lots of fights, good amount of new names. I really like that, and we'll see what happens on Saturday night because it's gonna be really interesting. And if you guys are betting, man, do be careful. But yeah, so far the only bet that I have my eyes on is the Jan Blachowicz and Israel Adesanya fight, in which I got Jan winning. So I'm focused on that right now. But as much as I simulate the fight in my head, I feel like once Israel gets hit by Jan, I don't think he's gonna be as confident as he usually is, especially if he's been knocked out before. Now Jan is gonna be fighting someone that doesn't have that knockout power, but Israel is still deadly. So if he does connect, in a good way, he will put you in a really bad situation. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, guys, this entire fight card on Saturday is gonna be stacked. So, lots of fun and interesting fights, man. And yeah, we'll see what happens. And we got some other news. Again, Cosmod is apparently retired, but I don't believe that, man. It's probably another money tactic. You know how these guys are. Everyone's retiring nowadays after a fight or two. So all right, guys, I'm gonna leave you all with that. Drop those comments. I know a lot of you guys are interested in on my other crypto videos, but I got a top five altcoins video coming out soon, so be sure to tune in to that one when it's released. And drop those comments, guys. Like the video, subscribe, and be sure to follow Fights and Finance on Instagram as well. So be good out there, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.